All right, here I am at the Pleasent Street Railroad crossing number 2 in River Rouge, Michigan. Now, this is the second crossing right here at Pleasent Street on this rather industrial road. And as you can see, down there is heading towards, and down there is Pleasent Street number 1 with where the CN Shoreline sub crosses, that's where they reroute some trains. And that crossing down there has some pretty rare equipment. So I guess after that, I decided to show you guys the next crossing on this road with Conrail, that Conrail owns. Not only this crossing, I'm also going to be touring number 3 down there where they have a little industry or little spur track right there that sometimes remote control switchers go through there. So yeah, this crossing has some pretty good-ish equipment, but I guess just to get it out of the way, I decided to tour it for today since I'm around this area for another collab. So I guess with that said, let's get on to it. So for the first signal, this has a SafeTran base, and here's the emergency information, and the dot tag for this crossing, the dot number is 511628E. And yeah, and this is a pretty tall mast for a gated setup. And for the gate mechanism, this has a Siemens gate mechanism with the stamped logo. As you can see, it's coming off. And this features some Rico LED gate lights and no wind guard. Now, one thing weird worth mentioning is the fact that this crossing has 5 tracks and there's no 5-track sign on this side. Well, it looks like there used to be, but got stolen or something. And for the lights, this has 2 pairs of SafeTran 12x24-inch dial-A LEDs sitting on a SafeTran light bracket. These look newer, but yeah. And for the bell, I believe this has a General Signals Type 2 electronic bell. I only seen this crossing in action from a distance, so I can't really tell, but it's most likely a Type 2 e-bell. Or it might be a Type 3. One of those two. It's a Norfolk Southern setup. So now let's go ahead and take a long walk to the other signal. Quite the huge crossing with 5 tracks. This is, by the way, this is right next to the River Rouge yard. So yeah, kind of makes sense. And yeah, a bunch of other cool stuff. So let me go and get over to this next signal. So yeah, right here. So here's the next signal. So the next signal, this one's similar to the first. This one has a Transport Products base, as you can see, pretty old. And here's the emergency information and the dot number once again. And there's some old Conrail emergency information right here, right where they bolted the gate mechanism. And we're speaking of the gate mechanism, this one is another Siemens gate mechanism with the stamped logo. And this one features some more Rico LED gate lights and a wind guard. So, and for the lights, this has 2 more pairs of SafeTran 12x24-inch dial-A LEDs sitting on a SafeTran light bracket that's facing backwards, which is quite funky. But yeah. And for the bell on this one, this has another General Signals Type 2 electronic bell. Most likely a Type 2. Could be a Type 1 or a 1.5, one of the two. I only heard this crossing from a distance, but maybe I'll get in action again here soon. So yeah, this right here was Pleasant Street number 2. I'm going to let James finish his tour on number 3 before I go over there. Here's the relay case. And right over here is Control Point YD, where that's just a control point for Conrail. CN Shoreline does not run through this one. But they kind of do, though, because CN Shoreline does route their trains through here sometimes. So, yeah, I guess with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the track view. So down there is heading south right towards River Rouge Yard. This is where most manifests and also where Trenton 3 builds their train. In fact, Trenton 3 just went through here like 5 minutes ago, and I caught it from a distance. You can see, the triple signal from, CN Shoreline. But yeah, this once again heading south, and you can see some Y pattern signals and some locomotives and cars sitting. And down there is heading north towards a bridge. I'm not sure if this heads to any more crossings nearby, most likely, but most of them are bridges, so I'm gonna just say it just heads towards a bridge, and you can see a couple more Y pattern signals. So yeah, so this right here was Pleasant Street number 2. Now with that said, let's go ahead and tour number 3. That was a nice guy. Trenton 3 is also coming back, but first, here's a better view of number 2 and also number 1 down the track. So, yeah. But anyways, here is the next signal right here, or next crossing, Pleasant Street number 3, also owned by the Conrail Detroit Shoreline, but this right here is a separated line where it heads off to serve industries and also potentially switch through here. So yeah, this is a quite neat setup. It's gateless, so I guess with that said, let's go ahead and get onto it. So for this signal, this has a Cerami base, and here's the emergency information, and the dot tag and the dot number is 512407F. And if you look below it, here's the remote control locomotive warning sign that says, attention, remote control locomotives operate in this area, locomotive cabs may be unoccupied. Kind of a little spooky warning for most other, non-rail fans. But then right here behind this dot tag is some more old Conrail emergency information. But yeah, and for the lights, this has 2 pairs of Hawker and SafeTran 12x20-inch incandescent light heads with dial-A LEDs put in them, as you can see. Anyway, sorry about that. Trenton 3 was coming through. But yeah, these lights are sitting on a safe train light bracket. And for a bell, I believe this has another General Signals Type 2 electronic bell. Now, the thing is, though, I actually just got this crossing in action off camera, and yes, it is confirmed that both of those signals over there have GS Type 2 e-bells. So, yeah, and this one may be no exception. This one might, right here, might have a Type 3 because it looks new, but it, actually, never mind, I take that back. That looks like a Type 2. But yeah, I guess with that said, let's go ahead and get on with the last signal of this road. So for this final one, this has a clamp-on style base, but it's like a different style. It might be a Federal Signal clamp-on style base because that's what these look like, but I don't see any labeling, so I'm just gonna call it a unlabeled clamp-on style base. But here's the emergency information once again, and also the warning of the remote control locomotives right here. And for the lights, this has 2 more pairs of Satran 12 by 24 inch incandescent light heads with dialight LEDs in them. 3 of them have the Hawker and Satran light heads, while this one is just a regular Satran 1, and all these are sitting on a Satran light bracket. And for a bell, this has another General Signals Type 2 electronic bell, I believe. But yeah, this doesn't get used very often, as you can see from the rust and the fact that they use jointed rail here. So yeah, this right here was Pleasant Street number 3. Here's the relay case. As you can see, it's painted brown, has a test switch inside. So yeah, I guess with all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the track view. Down there is heading south right towards where it curves back into River Rouge Yard. You can see the other tracks in River Rouge Yard and where it curves right back into. And down there is heading north right into the industry this would serve, I guess, and also curves into a crossbuck crossing, as you can see. And it also splits off into where, I guess, they store stuff and load stuff. I don't know, I have not got this one in action because, you know, you got to get lucky to get this one in action. So yeah, I guess with all that said, this was the Pleasant Street Railroad Crossing number 3 and number 2 toured. I already toured number 1 for you guys, so if you want to check that out, I guess I'll leave a video link in the description. So yeah, I guess with all that said for now, we got to go ahead and catch some more stuff. So with that said, over and out.